I got an interesting question recently, which came from a younger advisor, and he said, how would I suggest he go about finding a mentor? Somebody that's going to invest in him and the future of his business. It reminded me of this quote that I was really fortunate to hear from a mentor of mine when I was 19 years old, and he said, get as close as you can to the people that have done what you want to do. And I've always remembered that. So a couple of thoughts that came to mind for me as I was thinking about how would you go about finding a mentor? The first one is be really careful, actually, who you follow. I look back on my career and there's chapters where I ended up feeling like I wasted so much time by actually having the wrong mentors. And the biggest issue with having the wrong mentors or joining the wrong training, following the wrong program, joining the wrong company is the opportunity cost, right? Because you could spend a year, 2 years, 3 years, and maybe your gut kind of had a little inkling along the way that maybe you were on the wrong path, but it took time before you really had that conviction to cut your losses and go somewhere else. And that's massive opportunity costs. So that's the first thing. Be really careful who you follow. Don't just follow the leadership of anybody that's willing to mentor you, right? Get as close as you can to the people that have done what you want to do. So when you're looking at a mentor, really ask yourself, have they done what I want to do? The second one is, it's important to realize as you become more successful at something, it gets harder and harder to find somebody that's going to become a mentor of yours. Because as a result of you getting better and better, there's less people that are going to be able to add value to you along your journey. If you think about it like, I'll use the analogy of surfing because I grew up surfing, but any sport works, right? It's golf, it's tennis, it's running. How you get better at it is by spending a lot of time with people that are better than you. As you get better and better yourself, by default, there becomes less and less people that are better than you. There becomes more and more people than you're better than. So as you become better and better, it becomes harder and harder for you to find good mentors, because the people that are better at you, not only are they less, but they're typically more busy, they value their time more, and there's more people that would like to learn from them. Which leads me to the third thing, which I would say, don't hesitate paying for mentorship. I think sometimes there's this idea that like, if they're going to be a great mentor, they're going to invest in my future and they're going to believe in me and they're going to be willing to spend time with me. And the problem with that is relationships always have to have some degree of win-win. Now, I was really lucky. Between the ages of 19 to 26, I had an incredibly successful mentor, but he was in his mid to upper 60s at that point, and he essentially was retired with good investments and still some ownership in some companies, but he had the time and the motivation at that chapter of his life to feel like he was looking back and influencing somebody that was just hungry to learn, right? And I had a ton of time, and all I wanted to do was implement the things he was teaching me, read the books he was telling me about, listen to the videos he was talking to me about. But that was unique. Most individuals do not have that much time. They're not in a chapter where they're really looking to dive into or pour into somebody that they think is going to follow their leadership. Typically, when you find somebody, the win-win has to be you paying for their time. And don't shy away from that. I think of my own personal experience. I was realizing as our company, Elite Resource Team, was growing that I was starting to bump up to my abilities as a leader. And I just was running into situations that I wasn't handling things well over and over and over. And it was because I had never run a company of a dozen, 2 dozen people. And so what I ended up doing was finding a mentor, but that I hired. He was a coach. I met with him every other week, and I paid him $1,500 or $2,000 a month in order for him to spend an hour or 2 a month with me, teaching me about how to become a better leader, how to handle situations better. And when I look back on it, that's a great mentorship mentee, even though some people will say, well, you paid him for that, so he was more of a coach. I'd say that's not mutually exclusive. Sometimes the exchange of value comes from emotional and investing and learning and growing, and sometimes it just comes from monetary, where you're paying. So find people that have done what you want to do, get as close as you can to them, and whether you're exchanging value in terms of time or doing something for them, or they're they're getting some upside on your growth, or you're just purely paying for them hourly, finding a good mentor is incredibly important. And as long as it's the right mentor, they will shave years off of your learning curve. All right? That's all I wanted to share in this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about mentorship, anything I just discussed, type a message in the chat box. I'd be happy to address it.